My name is Sari van Poelje. I'm an expert in business innovation. I fly around the world helping multinationals and startups and family businesses innovate their business more quickly than their products. One of the other things I do is I have coaching and consultancy schools in 8 different countries where I teach people how to help businesses innovate in a good way. Usually we use many different theories for that, from group relations to NLP to constellations, but I mostly use transactional analysis. In TA, as I said last time, we distinguish many different ways of communicating and 6 main different ways of communicating, from structuring parent, nurturing parent, adult, adapted rebellious child, and free child. What does that mean for business once you've got that? What is really effective communication? Some people say that effective communication is communicating only from adult, which means that you're always factual, analytical, structured. And that's a really great way to increase your effectiveness and efficiency. So if I say to you, how many units have we produced this week? And you say 30 units. And I go, what was the target? And you go 40. And I said, so there's a gap of 10. That's adult communication. And it really gets us in a way where we can communicate about targets, about what's done, analyze problems factually, and take it from there. The problem with only factual communication within business is that you stick to what you already know and can see, because there's hardly any spontaneity in that. And it's really great for increasing efficiency and effectiveness, but it's not so great for innovation, really. Of course, there's a part of innovation where you have to communicate from adult. And once you have that brilliant idea, you really do have to create a structure and a way of making it work and execute it. That requires adult faculties, but it's not enough to create an agile and innovative team. So adult, great for efficiency and effectiveness, not so great always for innovation, the start of innovation. You need both, of course. I'm not saying one or the other, but you need everything you can get in terms of communication to stimulate an innovative team. What does controlling or structuring or critical parent mean in a business? Is that good or bad or what? So critical parent is really, really good to be able to see what's not working, what's missing, to give feedback where people really understand that they have to develop something or else. So critical parent is a great way of establishing hierarchy as well. Because let's face it, when you're the boss, you're one step up from anyone you manage. So critical parent faculty will help you stand up and actually say, this is how it's going to be. Positive critical parent is a great way to announce a vision. So when I'm managing teams, and I've done that for a long time, getting on your soapbox and saying, this is the direction we're going to go in. This is what I see. But then telling people, this is the direction, this is the structure we're going to work in, this is the banks of the river, and then letting people figure out for themselves how they're going to do it is a great way of managing nowadays. So this whole structuring parent for you is needed to really give direction and purpose in a team. Overusing it, of course, brings you to micromanagement, and you really want to avoid that because it makes people smaller and dependent. Nurturing parent, what's that good for in management? Well, nurturing parent is really the caring, empathic part. So it's a great way to take care of your people, of course, when they need it and when they've contracted for it. It's a great way to take care of your team. So looking around in your team office and seeing everyone's drawn faces after a long time project's launch, and then ordering pizza, is a great way to take care of them because they need it. And that's a great use of nurturing parent. When someone comes into your office and says, I really can't do this, and you give them words of encouragement and empathy, it's a really great way of leading your team as well. Because sometimes that's needed. You know, this lifting up of people, the whole developmental function of your management role is a great way to use your nurturing parent faculties. Of course, if you do it too much, if you give care when nothing is needed and nothing is asked for, it brings about this smothering style of management where someone's hovering over you all the time and telling you, you know, are you sure you're all right? Or you look tired, can I bring you a cup of tea? And people kind of go, no, you know, I'm a grown-up, I can do this myself. Sometimes I get managers who say, my door is always open, you know, I'll take care of you. And I'm going, well, actually, of course you're human beings, but you've got a business contract going here. So empathy is a great thing. I think it's fantastic to have that base of empathy always in your leadership style. Watch out for over caring for your people because it'll make them feel smaller. So how is the child ego state ways of communicating really good in the management? Well, rebellious child is a really good way of communicating, believe it or not. When you want to get some pepper in your team, we say something different in Dutch, but pepper, you know, get them going. Say, really? Why are we doing this after 20 years? Aren't there other ways of doing it? Why should you obey a hierarchy that isn't really very functional? Why should you obey rules that were made 30 years ago when it doesn't work in today's world? You know, it's really good to have that rebellious sense as well, especially as a change manager or an innovation manager. Thinking about how it could be different or going against the grain is the essence of being an innovative manager. Of course, overusing that and using a rebellious style to overturn and to actually be kind of an anarchy within the system is not going to work. You're in a system. You do, if you're working in a business, you do have to respect the hierarchy and structure. But the rebellious child way of communicating will get your team in a mode where they go, oh, we don't have to obey the rules. Maybe we can think for ourselves and think, what's okay now? So that's the rebellious child. The other flip side of that coin is the adapted child, really. Why is that a good way of managing or communicating as manager? Well, the adapted child will really get you in a state where you invite people to be within a system and within the system to create their reality of being a team. Sometimes I get people in my team who bypass rules or who redefine the purpose of a meeting or who say, who take it for their own agenda, and to bring them back into actually, I know you have complaints about your boss, but they're getting paid more for a reason. So until proved otherwise, you are working within this hierarchy and you will have to work with this manager and you will have to manage your manager. That's 50% of your job. So that's actually a positive use, I think, of adapted child within business, where people realize that, yes, there is always a degree of adaptation if you're in a group. This whole thing about I can be myself in a group, yes, there are degrees of that, but actually there's always a degree of adaptation when you work in a group. When you do it too much, of course, as a manager communicating from an adapted child, oh, the headquarters have told us to do this, then we have to do it, regardless of the circumstances. I mean, that's not really a good use of your energy either. So using it as automatic behavior without thinking about things first is not a good thing to do as a manager. Free child, why is that a good way of communicating as a manager? Free child energy is infectious. It's really bonding energy. It brings people to a point where they go, yes, I believe this too. Let's do this together. Let's play together. One of my colleagues, Jaap Boonstra, just wrote a book about managing change as play. And I really think if you keep that kind of energy going, it will really help you as a manager to communicate and to really get your team going in a certain way. Authenticity, intimacy in business is a really good thing. I know there are countries where there are, very restrictive laws against the intimacy you can have in a business, and that's a really good thing. I think it's a really good thing that that exists. And we are also human beings who have a need to connect, a natural need to connect. So using pre-child as a style of communication in business is infectious and will get you going in an agile and innovative way anytime.